Good afternoon. I just wanted to jump on today just for a couple of minutes before our lunch adjusting shift to talk about your low back. And it's interesting, the premise behind this message was the kind of concept that people go, man, I threw out my back again. I slipped a disc. Something's pinching in my back, right? And what to do about it? And it prompted me yesterday because one of our neighbors regularly throws his back out, and you hear from his wife because she does a lot of the gardening and the snow shoveling and the maintenance around the yard, and every once in a while, like, do you want some help with that? She's like, oh yeah, and I won't mention any names, but X threw his back out again, so he has to rest in bed, right? And it's such an interesting one because I've been looking after people's backs and full spines here in Ottawa for 13 years. And my question for you is this, would you ever consider changing the language? Because it's not throwing your back out. It's literally injuring your spine, right? I hope that sits with you guys. Does that make sense, right? You don't just throw your back out or slip a disc. It's actually a spinal injury going, hey, there's something going on in my spine. And if you've met me and you've ever picked my brain about owning a spine, it's a pretty important thing. So the first time this lady told me this, I'm like your husband's literally laid up in bed for a couple of days because he threw out his back, meaning extra work for you. You're ferrying the kids around. He's not playing his part in the family, all because he threw his back out. And the thing that popped in my head right away was, if you had that same amount of pain coming out of your teeth, well, what would you do? Would you pop Tylenol or have a shot of whiskey and hope the pain goes away? Well, no. If you had shooting, shocking, debilitating pain out of one of your teeth, you would go to the dentist right away. You'd go, my goodness, get me in for an emergency session. There's something wrong with my mouth, my tooth. Super, super painful. But it's no different with your spine. And so just this may be helping you, this may be helping someone you know, but I guess the message I wanted to share with you today is that the simple language of I threw out my neck, crick in my neck, my back's always tight, I get this chronic tension in the shoulder blades, I live under chronic back pain, I throw out my back a couple of times a year like clockwork, my back's my weak link. Well, I would suggest that, number one, that's a spinal injury in process. So if you hurt your back, you're actually injuring your spine. And this may be a little tricky on video. Hey, or maybe not, that looks really good. So this is the front of your low back. This is the back of your low back. And this is looking at you from the side, so your belly would be over here, right? Make sense? So look at all these little joints and how they move, right? Look at these nerves that can get compressed meaning pinched. This big one goes down to your leg, and if you can vision that, it comes right out of your low back. So the whole thing with owning one, does that look complicated to you? Oh my goodness, this is you lifting over to pick up your kids. This is you deadlifting in the gym. This is you sitting in the car driving to Montreal for 2 hours, right? So how do you keep one of these things healthy, and how do you change that language of I just threw my back out, let's see how it goes, to hey, I injured my spine and I should get someone to look at it? Because what we know about this structure is that it needs good alignment, and it needs good movement. And when we have bad movement or bad alignment, you're going to hurt your back more. And I think that just makes logical sense to everybody. But how many people have actually had a proper spinal exam to see why they keep hurting their back? In the literature, unless you look after the root cause of your back pain, it's called chronic recurrent low back pain because it just keeps coming back. And it keeps coming back because very rarely do people put the effort into figuring out what's going wrong with my back, why do I keep injuring it, and what is the permanent solution to get my back out of pain once and for all. So that's all I wanted to leave you guys with today. I just thought about this yesterday because I looked out the window and there was our neighbor. She's shoveling the snowbank at the end of the driveway, and I was like, man, the last time we spoke, it was because her husband was laid up because he threw his back, air quotes, he threw his back out again. But I'm just gonna have you ponder this for a moment, that you don't just throw your back out. You know, you don't just wake up with a crick in your neck. You don't live with chronic pain or chronic stiffness in your spine unless your spine has a problem, right? And then when you injure it, I mean, that's your spine going, hey, like, I need some help here. And then it's time to get the proper investigation. And so I guess just to round out, it's dentistry is such a great analogy. When was the last time you're like, oh man, I have this crazy toothache, I can't bite back there, I can't sleep at night, every time I clench my jaw, the pain gets worse, and you're going, let's just wait it out. Never, right? And I would implore that your spine is absolutely no different. And it's just a simple shift of language. And if you want any more information, let me know. Shoot me a message, tag someone with chronic low back pain, because I mean, the whole thing is there is a permanent solution to back pain, spinal pain, even if we talk about neck pain, which isn't the purpose of today's live, but you know, the whole spine in good structure and good function should support you, keep your nerve system healthy. So tag someone you know who struggles with spinal pain. Doors open for appointments. Ask me any questions you want during off Facebook. There's always good information about your health out there, and I'm willing to help you guys in any way, shape I can. But the next time you hear someone say, I've got a crick in my neck, you know what? There's a spinal problem. Threw my back out. You know what? You have a spinal problem. Have you had that looked at? You know, do you have x-rays? Do you know what your spine moves like or looks like? Because ultimately you get one spine, and that part, I guarantee you, the spine you have now has to last you your whole life. So look after it. It's a spinal injury. It's not just throwing your back out again. Address it as seriously as it should be looked after for you guys. I wish you the best. Talk to you soon.